You guys today, Marina Mabrey requesting a trade from the Connecticut Sun.
Remember when Marina laughed at CaitlinClark getting poked in the eye? Well, karma just hit her like a freight train, and you won't believe what's happening to her now. Mabrey thought she was making the smartest move ever by joining the Connecticut Sun, but now her whole world's falling apart. Her teammates are gone, her coach jumped ship, and she's left all alone begging for a trade. But guess what? Nobody wants her.
Marina Mabrey has she wanted a trade. She demanded a trade from the Chicago Sky to go to a contending team. And now look at how the Connecticut Sun have blown up.
Did you see what just happened to Marina M? She didn't just fall from grace. She took a nosedive right into a pool of karma. Remember when she was all smiles and laughter last season? Well, now she's the one feeling the sting, and it's not just a little poke in the eye.
I love, when it comes to like basketball and women's basketball in general, guys, I absolutely love when things that happen in basketball teaches life lessons. And I feel like this is kind of like that.
Let's break down this wild turn of events. Marina thought she was making the smartest move ever by joining the Connecticut Sun. She was probably picturing championship parades and victory speeches. But here's where it gets really interesting. The Sun's roster just got hit by a meteor shower. We're not talking about losing one or two players. No, we're talking about a total wipeout. All 5 starters gone, the veteran presence that brought home championships vanished into thin air.
So all of that has happened. All the while, Marina Mabrey is looking at all of this and is saying, what in the world? They just left me holding the bag. They got me. They left me.
Now you might be thinking, surely Marina saw this coming. Right? Wrong. She's been blindsided harder than a rookie in their first pro game. Can you believe the irony? The same player who laughed at CaitlinClark's misfortune is now the one getting poked in the eye by karma. It's like watching a replay of last season's drama, but with Marina cast in the starring Arlie she never wanted.
You know, Marina Mabrey wanted to leave. She had no idea that Connecticut would burn to the ground, right? She had no idea, but that's what happens, man. Like, you never know, because none of us can predict the future.
But wait, it gets even crazier. Marina's not just sitting back and accepting her fate. No, she's in full in panic mode. She's wearing out her phone right now, trying to call other teams begging for a trade. But guess what? It's like she's become the WNBA's version of a telemarketer nobody's picking up. Can you imagine how that feels, going from being on top of the world to being treated like you've got the basketball plague?
Marina Mabrey, in case you folks don't remember, this past playoffs against the Fever, dropped 27 on our head top game 1. Who is she guarded by a majority of those possessions? Don't worry, I'll wait. 27 points, 3 assists, 5 for 12 from 3. 45% from the floor. Marina Mabrey went off game 1.
This isn't just a fall from grace, it's a free fall from the top of the WNBA ladder. Marina's gone from cocky star to desperate, has been faster than you can say instant replay. It's like watching a car crash in slow motion. But instead of a car, it's a career, and instead of a crash, it's an implosion.
Game 2, 17 points. Put us to bed. Tucked us in for the rest of the season. Last 2 games against the Lynx weren't too good, but she started out strong. 20 points against the Lynx for game 1. 15 points, 14 points. Couldn't end up winning that series.
You might be wondering, how did Marina go from laughing at CaitlinClark to becoming the WNBA's biggest joke? Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's like the basketball gods decided to serve up a big plate of humble pie, and Marina's got a front row seat at the table.
So she said, I came to play for James Wade, the system he had built and the vision he saw for me. I don't like to jump ship, so he left. And then I thought, okay, let's see what happens.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, but how did Marina go from trash-talking superstar to WNBA's most unwanted? Let's dive into the move that Mabrey thought would cement her legacy. Spoiler alert, it did, but not in the way anyone saw coming.
Marina Mabrey, part of that Chicago Sky team that was in the playoffs, the 6th seed in the WNBA, with Kennedy Carter. If the season ended 30 games into the season, the Chicago Sky would have been a playoff team.
Picture this MRY fresh off her controversial moment with CaitlinClark decides she's ready for the big leagues. She sets her sights on the Connecticut Sun, a team she calls a championship contender. Can you believe it? And was so sure she was making the smartest move of her career. She even bragged about it to anyone who'd listen.
Teresa Weatherspoon goes full-blown into tank mode. Teresa Weatherspoon goes full-blown into double-double mode. Marina Mabrey says, yeah, get me out of here. I want to go to a situation where I'm going to win. And they send her to Connecticut.
But here's where it gets really interesting. While Em is patting herself on the back, the Suns roster is quietly falling apart. It's like watching a house of cards collapse in slow motion. First, one teammate leaves, and another. It's as if they're playing a game of who can escape the sinking ship fastest.
I wanted to trade from the Chicago Sky to the Connecticut Sun because I said I wanted to be on a championship style team, right? That's what I wanted, right? But now, we see what has happened.
Myra's watching her championship team turn into a ghost town, and she's standing there like the last kid picked for dodgeball, wondering what the heck just happened. The coach gone faster than free food at a college party. The veteran players, they've jumped ship so fast you'd think the sun was on fire. And there's Mabrey holding on to her dream of glory like it's the last slice of pizza at a sleepover. But that dream, it's got more holes than a block of Swiss cheese. Left out in the sun.
That's Marina Mabrey. She requested that trade. She wanted to go to the Connecticut Sun because it was a team of veterans. Because she was trying to win a championship with people who have won a championship. All right.
No, what's even crazier, the Connecticut Sun's management is staying quiet. They're not saying a word about where the team is headed. It's like they're playing the world's most awkward game of hide and seek. And poor Marina, she's caught in the middle, probably wishing she could hide too.
And she is the only one in Connecticut at the guard position that can create for herself and hit a wide open shot. Once again, she is the only player in Connecticut that can create for herself and hit a wide open shot.
Once again, she is the only player in Connecticut that can create for herself and hit a wide open shot. This whole situation is a real life lesson. And be careful what you wish for. Myra wanted the spotlight, and boy did she get it. But instead of shining under it, she's squirming like a kid who forgot their lines in the school play.
The title of it, what says, attached to Marina Mabrey's trade request was a desire to play for the Sun. So she wanted to play for the Sun. That is a team that she wanted to go to.
Do you think Em's squirming now? Just wait till you see her next move. It's like watching a desperate swimmer trying to grab onto a life raft made of jello. How bad could it get? Let's just say if embarrassment had a face, it would be Marina M right about now.
Folks, breaking news. Marina Mabrey has requested a trade from the Connecticut Sun. Her agent, Marcus Crenshaw, told ESPN Wednesday. Mabrey averaged 14.4 points and 4 assists per game last season across stints with the Chicago Sky and the Connecticut Sun, who she was traded to mid-season.
Picture this, MabreyR phone in hand, frantically dialing every team in the WNBA. She's like a telemarketer on steroids, trying to sell herself to anyone who will listen. But here's the kicker: nobody's buying what she's selling. It's like she's trying to peddle ice to Eskimos, and they're all hitting decline faster than you can say trade request.
Now, I see Marina Mabrey, folks. First time I saw Marina Mabrey, if you guys remember, it was the first Chicago Sky game that I watched, Angel Reese, and I was like, damn, that girl could play. That girl reminds me of somebody on the court who just can hoop, right? Got that old park feel to her game. That girl could ball. So knee-jerk reaction when I see Marina Mabrey wants a trade.
You'd think with her talent, teams would be lining up right. Wrong. May is finding out the hard way that in the WNBA reputation matters. And hers, let's just say, it's seen better days. She's trying everything social media. Please check, begging her agent double check. She'd probably skywrite, please trade for me, if she thought it helped.
So I actually am like, I feel almost bad for Marina Mabrey, because it has happened not once but twice where she has been traded to a team and they immediately start rebuilding.
Every time MRY reaches out, she's met with silence. So deafening you could hear a basketball drop in an empty arena. It's like watching a car crash in slow motion, except the car is Ma's career. And the crash is her realizing she's stuck in basketball purgatory.
Much for the Super Chat says the team changed, the coach left. Well, the coach left before the team changed, but yes, both did indeed happen. And again, Marina Mabrey was left holding the bag because, you know, she's on that team. She wanted to be there. And once she got there, a couple months later, the head coach is gone. Again, the head coach is gone. All five of your starters are gone.
Now, you might be thinking, surely someone would want a player of Myra's caliber, right? Well, here's where it gets really interesting. May's current contract is valued at $200,000. That's not exactly chump change, and the WNBA teams are looking at her like she's a designer handbag with a broken strap, nice to have, but not at that price.
And I'm trying to think of teams that can afford her. Like, just salary cap-wise. She is on a $200K contract. It's not a max, but it's a $200K contract. So, I am just clicked on the NBA standings, not the WNBA standings. My bad. So, if we look at the teams, the Valkyries could sign her, but that's a rebuilding team. The Liberty do not have the cap space. The Lynx might be a good option.
That's right, emphasis on Mike. Can you believe the irony? M thought she was making a power move, but now that $200,000 price tag is hanging around her neck like an anchor. It's like she's trying to sell a luxury car during a gas shortage. Teams are doing the math, and May's just not adding up.
Right? Sometimes when you make a decision based off of all the available evidence, it says, yes, go there. Yes, go and make that decision. But sometimes you make that decision with the best available information, and sometimes it burns to the...
But here's where it gets really sad. MRE's social media, once a place for trash talk and bravado, has turned into a digital ghost town. The few comments she has get there dripping with pity. It's like watching the popular kid in high school show up to the 10-year reunion and realizing no one remembers their name.
All five are gone. So that veteran presence that have won championships before, gone. That head coach that was on the verge of winning a championship as a head coach, gone. And Marina Mabrey is looking like, I know this didn't just happen to me. I know this did not just happen to me.
And just when you think it can't get any worse for M, the universe throws her another curveball. But we'll get to that in a second. First, let's talk about what this means for M's future. She's not just fighting for a new team. She's fighting for her entire career. Every unanswered call, every ignored message, it's all chipping away at her chances of staying relevant in the league.
Indeed, Marina Mabrey, it did. Because sometimes the grass is not always greener, right? Sometimes when you make the decision to make a change, sometimes there will be unintended consequences. And that is exactly what we have seen here.
Remember that curveball we mentioned? Well, it's not just any curveball, it's a CaitlinClark special. And it's about to hit Roy like a freight train. You thought May's career was on thin ice before. Wait till you see how Clark's meteoric rise is turning that ice into a puddle.
You know, sucks for Marina Mabrey, though. She wanted to leave, but her practice facility got worse, and all the best players on her team are gone. For the most part, they're going to be gone by the start of 2025. Like, it sucks for her.
Let's talk about what's happening over in Indiana. CaitlinClark isn't just playing basketball. She's redefining it. She's not just scoring points. She's creating a whole new playbook or vision. On the court, it's like she's got eyes in the back of her head. And her leadership, it's transforming the entire Fever locker room.
A vet, a professional like Sydney Colson, and then you also have a vet like DeWanna Bonner, and you also have a vet like Kelsey Mitchell, and then you have Cece and Aaliyah Boston and Lexi and the MAGA Barbie, and isn't Katie Lou still on your team too? So, I mean, shout out to the Indiana Fever, but it's clear that this is a scheme that Todd set up to get Cece.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Clark isn't just elevating her own game. She's lifting everyone around her. Her teammates are playing better than ever, inspired by her energy and skill. It's like Clark's got some kind of basketball superpower that's rubbing off on everyone she plays with. Now you might be thinking, okay, so Clark's good, but how does this affect you will get ready for this. While Emery's phone is gathering dust, Clark's is blowing up with calls from top players wanting to join her team. Can you believe it? The Indiana Fever, once an afterthought in the league, is now the hottest destination for free agents.
Yeah, for Cheryl Swoops. If you see Cheryl Swoops, she did a lot of talking a few months ago about the Indiana Fever, the locker room environment, how people didn't want to play there, how people wanted to leave. Stephanie White came in and said, okay, hold up. Let me go to Indeed.com and Indeed get some free agents to come in here that want to play, that are accomplished, seasoned veterans. She did all that.
And it's not just players. The Fever's management is making big moves too. They're signing seasoned veterans like Anna Bonner, and Kelsey Mitchell. It's like they're building a dream team around Clark. And everyone wants in on the action. Meanwhile, over in Connecticut, Mabrey is watching her team crumble like a sandcastle at high tide. The Suns lost key players, their head coach. And any hope of being competitive, it's a stark contrast that's impossible to ignore.
Moves are going to be made. There will be another move, whether it is for a center or it is for another guard, ball handler, if you will, coming off the bench.